Hello everyone, welcome to my reading. So today I'm doing a pick a card reading using the Urban Crow Oracle. I absolutely love this deck, it's amazing. And the theme for today is going to be what's holding you back? You know, that's the main question or theme of today's reading. What's holding you back? What is blocking you? So we have two piles here. We have pile 1, caching, and pile 2, dominance. So just take a second to see which pile is really calling to you, and I will see you in your reading. Hello pile 1, welcome to your reading. So you've selected the caching card here, and we can see there's a crow who's got some food, but instead of eating it right now, he is storing it for later. You can see the little holes he's dug with all that food, that energy that he is storing, right? So there's an energy of this card of patience and waiting for the right time or situation to do something, to use certain energy. There's a feeling of, holding on to and conserving energy, waiting for the right, maybe even the right person to use that energy with, right? Not just giving your energy away freely, not rushing into things, right? So what I immediately picked up with this pile too, with the tarot cards I pulled, I feel like you guys are very loving people. I think you really want to help others. You really want to support others and help them grow. However, I think this has led to a lot of hurt for you with the Three of Swords coming in, right? And the Empress in reverse, it's sort of telling me that you guys have you've neglected yourself in some situations when you've tried to help other people. There's just a very giving vibe to you guys, but it's giving to the point where you've neglected yourself, and it's gotten you into some situations and where it's resulted in this Three of Swords energy, the heartbreak, the betrayal. So there's a really strong message coming through about really being careful when you decide to use your energy, when you decide to share that with other people, and who you share that with, how much you share with other people. Because I feel like you guys have been put in situations before where people have really taken advantage of that. They've really taken advantage of how empathetic and loving and supportive you are. And it's also led to you neglecting yourself a bit as well. You help others to the point where you forget to help yourself. That's a very, very important thing for you guys to learn. And the Seven of Pentacles, it felt very fitting to pull after this card. It was the first one I pulled. You can see this woman, she's sitting on this tree. She's spent a lot of time and effort into growing this tree. It's very abundant in fruit and flowers, but she hasn't harvested it yet. She looks kind of sad, almost. I feel like she's waiting for the right person to share that with. She's waiting for the right person, the right situation to share that energy with other people. Some of you, this isn't going to be for everybody, but I do feel a need to say this for some of you. Some of you may consider yourself like spiritual teachers. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have like a full-on business or anything, but you might do like tarot readings, divination for other people, astrology readings. You might just give spiritual advice to other people. And for you guys, there's a message of knowing when to hold that to yourself and keep that to yourself, and when to help people. Not everybody's going to appreciate that. Not everybody is going to like that kind of thing. Also, people are going to exploit it, you know? People might, like if you do tarot readings, for example, some people will just not appreciate the energy you're giving. They just want free readings. They take advantage of how giving you are. Something like that. So be cautious of how much energy you're giving to other people and what situations. How do I put this? For those of you who are some sort of spiritual teacher, there's just a need to be a little, like, conserve your energy. You don't need to share it with everybody. You don't need to share your practice with everybody and your knowledge that you've gained. But the right people will come along at the right time, you know? I'm not gonna go too deep into that direction with it. I want to stay pretty general because I don't think that is for everybody who's watching this. But yeah, there's an overall energy of needing to know when to give energy to other people, when to give energy to yourself. Because I think you guys have you just want to give, you know? You want to help. But you're not helping yourself when you're just trying to help other people all the time. You're neglecting yourself a little bit here. So I want to pull some more tarot cards. Let's see what comes out. Five of Pentacles reversed. Oh, that fell. Temperance. With the Five of Pentacles, it's feeling like, this is very much connected to what I said already, but it feels like you guys have, oh, how do I put this? There's definitely been quite a few situations where you've given a lot to other people, and then you've been left feeling very disappointed that they didn't exchange, there wasn't a fair exchange of energy. Like, you gave so much to this person, you put so much energy into this person, and they don't give that in return, right? And with the Temperance card, I feel like there's this balance or this alchemy happening here where you're learning to balance this out, right? Because I do think you guys you have a lot to give. I've said that already. You have a lot to give others in the world. You have a very lovely energy. But there's a balance that needs to be made here between helping yourself and helping others. I mean, you can't help others if you don't help yourself. The more you grow yourself, the more you'll be able to help others. Don't neglect yourself, pile one, okay? And there's just a very strong message for you guys about, oh, I want to say this too. I was thinking this. You're not asking for too much. You're asking the wrong people. You're not expecting too much. You're just looking for it within the wrong people sometimes. So yes, people have taken advantage of you before. They've exploited how loving you are and how much you want to give. But you also need to take a look within yourself to see if this is a pattern that keeps repeating, which I'm feeling like it is for you guys. Why is this a pattern that's repeating? Where is this coming from? Like, what is happening within you that's allowing others to continue to take advantage of your energy and just drain your energy from you? Because you can help and support others without it completely draining you, right? You can help and support others without neglecting yourself. I want to pull one more card. Seven of Wands. I feel like this has led to you guys feeling pretty overwhelmed and drained because other people have just drained your energy. And going back to like what this pick a card reading is about, what is holding you back, right? I feel like what holds you back the most is how much you want to help other people. You want to help other people to the point where you forget about yourself, and you've let others exploit you and take advantage of you. And you keep ending up in this Three of Swords energy where you feel very betrayed and hurt. But you need to start to learn, going back to the main theme of this pile here with the cashing card, you need to learn when to save your energy, how to conserve your energy for yourself, for your best interest, and to know when the appropriate situations are. There's another slight little message feeling I have coming from this card, going to like kind of the other side of it. Like, also, you don't want to become so defensive where you're just keeping everything to yourself, where you don't express what you need to express, where you don't share energy with others. That's not the solution either. I'm not telling you to not give to other people. I'm not telling you to not help other people. There's just a balance that needs to be made here. My cat was meowing. I had to go check out what he was doing, so I'm sorry for the cut. But I want to kind of sum up and conclude this reading. I want it to be kind of short and sweet. Don't want to make it too complicated. So to do that, to sum it up, and going back to the main theme of today's pick a card, which is what is holding you back. For you guys, pile one, what holds you back sometimes is your desire to help others, and the imbalance in your desire to help others when you don't help yourself. You have to balance service to others with service to self. There needs to be a balance between those for you guys. Know when it's time to conserve your energy, and know when it's time to give. And when you give, don't just give everything, because that's when people can just take your energy. That's when people can just exploit you, right? Be a little more selfish. I feel like you guys need to be a little more selfish. Not in like a very egotistical, selfish way, but like, serve yourself. Like, prioritize yourself a little bit more. Because your desire to help others gets you stuck a little bit. That's what holds you back a little bit. And I feel like you guys are very much meant to help others in your life. You're meant to help others grow. If you are a spiritual teacher, like, I feel like that's really a path you're meant to go down. Or if you resonate with that, like, I feel like that could be a very successful path for you guys. But balance it a little bit. Don't neglect yourself. Know when to hold energy in, know when to hold your knowledge to yourself, and when to share it. You don't need to share it with everybody, okay? But anyways, I feel like that's all I'm getting. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this reading resonated with you guys. And be sure to like and subscribe. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. So you've selected the Dominance card. And you can see in this picture, there's a crow, like, that's holding another crow down. And connecting back to the theme of this pick a card reading, like what's holding you back in your life, there's a feeling that there's been some sort of connections or dynamics in your life where people have been very controlling. People have really held you down. I think, okay, I am feeling like maybe some of you guys recently got out of a really unhealthy dynamic, very controlling, maybe manipulative power dynamic. This could be like a romantic relationship. It often is, so I definitely think some of you guys are coming out of a toxic relationship, or you've really been healing from that and working on that. Could be like a unhealthy job, very toxic work environment, and very controlling, dominating boss. Could be family, could be friends. But like the King of Cups and the Sun under the Dominance card, that's giving somewhat of an energy of like emotional manipulation and gaslighting, maybe narcissism. Someone who maybe wears some masks, like they pretend to be something they're not. Someone who maybe misled you into who they are because they were wearing a mask, and then they revealed their true colors, right? And how, you know, manipulative and dominating they actually are. But what I am picking up though too is, well, okay, I am picking up an energy of like you've gotten out of that of a dynamic like that recently. But at the same time, I'm also picking up a feeling of like a pattern or cycles. Like I think this may be something you've encountered multiple times in your life. Like you've had multiple encounters with these very narcissistic, dominating people that have really held you down or tried to hold you down. And I feel like you're really over that. Like, I think whatever recent toxic dynamic you got out of, I feel like that's really triggered this healing process for you, where you're sort of freeing yourself from those cycles, from being stuck, being controlled by very narcissistic people. I feel like you're really doing the work to heal from that and becoming aware of that, very much connecting with yourself, trusting yourself, building that trust with yourself so that you don't end up in those dynamics anymore. I feel like you guys have started to see that, how you've fallen into these where you've gotten into many situations with these very controlling people, and you're starting to look at like, how am I ending up in this? How do I prevent this from happening again in the future? I want to say with the Justice card, for those of you who were in a very toxic dynamic with somebody, and you're worried about like this person's not going to be held accountable, they're not going to face the consequences of what they did to me. I think some of you are really worrying about that, and I want to tell you with the Justice card that there will be consequences for what they did. It might be more like energetic consequences. It might be not be super obvious, but they are facing the energy and the consequences of what they did. So you don't need to worry about that. I also feel like Justice can also be called adjustment, right? And I feel like you guys are making the necessary adjustments in your life so that you don't end up in those dynamics anymore. There's just an energy of really freeing yourself from that. I feel like people were able to manipulate your emotions a lot. And then with the King of Cups, it's like you're becoming the King of Cups. You're very connected and with your emotions. You're becoming more sure of yourself, so people are not able to manipulate your emotions as easily. And this card coming up first, the Eight of Wands, it's very fast. Like what's happening is there's some very swift changes happening in your life, right? So I feel like once you freed yourself from that dynamic, whatever it was. Because I think for a lot of you there was something specific that triggered this, like a specific relationship with someone. Again, it doesn't have to be romantic, it could be anything that sort of triggered this process of like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm not gonna be controlled by these manipulative narcissists anymore, right? So I feel like there's a lot of like swift changes that happen rapidly. Or if you're more so moving into that, that's probably the direction you're headed, where things are gonna change very rapidly. And I also want to say too, I want to make sure I put this the right way, okay? But some of you might be a little controlling yourselves. I'm not saying that you yourself are the one who's manipulating, controlling people in that way. I don't think so. But some of you might have a hard time going with the flow, or like if you had a certain plan for like how things were going to go, and it doesn't go that way, like there's bumps in the road. I think you have a really hard time with that. And I think this is like often when people have been in situations in their life and they have trauma from people who were very controlling over them, and they felt like they were very out of control of a lot of things in their life, they can become a little controlling themselves. So I have, only take that if it resonates, of course. I'm just saying, be careful not to become too controlling yourself, okay? And I'm not really feeling like it's over other people, more so, but like just, you know, not everything's going to bend exactly to your will, okay? Just, I hope that's coming across okay. Don't get mad at me. All right, okay. But yeah, like if that is you, I definitely feel like it's been a response to other people being controlling over you and you trying to get some control back. But yeah, I'm gonna leave that part there. If it resonates, it does. If it doesn't, that's okay. So let's pull some more tarot cards and see what else we have going on here for you guys, pile 2. I just want to say too, pile 1 had a lot of themes of like, you know, giving too much energy to other people, you know, like an imbalanced exchange of energy where someone's taking a lot of energy from you. And so you know, if you were feeling called towards pile 1 as well, there might be some connections between the piles here. There's definitely there might be some messages that resonate with you in that pile as well. But yeah, okay, moving on. Let's pull some more tarot cards and see what else we have going on for you, pile 2. The Lovers. Oh wait, not the Lovers. Is that 2 of Cups? Yeah, I think so. The Devil. Okay, so yeah, I definitely think you guys have been in very controlling relationships before. I definitely, a lot of you watching this have been specifically in like a very emotionally like manipulative and draining relationship, like actual romantic relationship, right? With this card coming out and the Devil. I think that's something you've really struggled with. Yeah, there's definitely a connection between the 2 piles. So if you're really feeling called to pile 1, I definitely recommend checking that out. But give me a second. I just wanna feel the energy a little bit. So kind of going back to the main question for this pick a card, which was what is holding you back? I feel like your relationships have held you back a lot certain relationship dynamics have held you back a lot, and you've had situations in your life where other people were holding you down. They were. However, I think it's time for you. I think you're doing this, by the way. For most of you watching, you're actively doing this. I think you're actively working on this, but and it's more so of a confirmation, right? But you guys have played a certain. Okay, look, I want to be very careful with how I say this. You are absolutely not responsible for the actions other people have decided to take. Okay, you're not responsible for those people who have been manipulative and dominating and gaslit you, that made you think that they were someone that they're not, that put a mask on and pretended to be someone else and then revealed their true colors and gaslit you into thinking there's something wrong with you. Okay, you're not responsible for that at all. However, you are responsible for yourself and your actions and your decisions. Okay, and I think you're doing this already. I think you're doing this. But if you're not, I think you're moving into this energy and you're moving into this realization of seeing how you've let others hold you down. You've let other people have been able to play with your emotions and manipulate your emotions a little too much. But now you're sort of entering a place where you're very connected with yourself. You're connected with your emotions, you're balancing it a little bit more. And so you're entering a place where you're making the proper adjustments necessary in your life so that people can't control you in the same way that they used to. Also, with the Eight of Wands, I feel like you might receive certain messages, like synchronicities, signs, maybe just certain like downloads. Some of you are clairaudient. I don't know, I was just getting that. Some of you are very clairaudient and you get messages through like music and stuff. That was very specific. Anyways, but yeah, there's signs that come into your life that'll kind of warn you about red flags in people as well. Okay, for those of you who kind of currently have someone in your life who might be this kind of dominating, manipulative person, or you're like questioning their intentions, you're kind of unsure of them, there will be signs that come up. There will be red flags that come up. So be sure to watch them. Be sure to pay attention to them. Make yourself aware of them. Don't hide from them. I want to pull another card. What else is going on for pile 2? Knight of Swords. You guys are setting a new mindset for yourself in regards to your connections and relationships with others. You're setting a new mindset and you're moving forward with that mindset. Yeah, I really get the vibe that most of you watching, like, this is more so of a confirmation for a lot of you guys than it is something new. I really think it's more so of a confirmation because I get the vibe that you guys are like actively doing this work. You're healing from these patterns and these cycles. And I do feel like with the Two of Cups here coming in, I definitely think this has a lot to do with romantic connections. Again, if that it doesn't have to be, or it could be a bit of both, could be a bit of everything. So I said, like, I think this is more so a pattern in your life. So you may have had this show up within multiple different dynamics, like maybe family and also relationships as like friends and romantic partners. It may have shown up in multiple areas of your life. However, I am very much getting a vibe that quite a lot of you watching have gotten out of a toxic relationship somewhat recently. Like you had there's just a vibe of there's just a very controlling, manipulative vibe. And I feel like you guys freed yourself from that, or you escaped that, or you are starting to free yourself from it. And I feel like specifically there's a message about not falling into this pattern within romantic relationships, right? Like I pulled the Two of Cups and the Devil at the same time. So that might be something you more so fall into with romantic relationships. So again, I really want to repeat this. I feel like I need to repeat it. What that toxic person did to you is not your fault. Like the actions they made, like I really get a feeling of like emotional abuse as well here. Like that was not your fault at all. At all. That was not your fault what that person decided to do, and it was wrong. And they will face consequences for it. But you still need to take a look within yourself to see how are if this is, especially if this is a cycle or a pattern you've ended up in, how are people taking advantage of you like this? You know, how are you letting others hold you back sometimes? The Devil coming up, I feel like. You didn't let that happen to you. I don't want to make you feel that way. You didn't let that happen to you. But just be careful. I don't know how to put this. I want to put this the right way. Don't let other people manipulate and play with your emotions as much. I feel like that's a big theme here of like emotional manipulation. I'm so sorry, my phone died. So there's gonna be a little cut there. But getting back into it, getting back into the energy. Sorry if I repeat myself a little bit because I need to like refresh the energy in my mind too now. So I really want to make it very clear that you guys are not responsible for other people's decisions. Those manipulative, narcissistic, controlling people that you've had in your life, you're absolutely not responsible for what they decided to do. You did not deserve that, and that was not your fault. So in whatever ways those have shown up in your life, whether that's a romantic connection, a friend, a boss, family, you didn't deserve that. That's not your fault. And those people, they will face they will face consequences, okay, with the Justice card for what they did. However, there's still a need to look within yourself here. There's a need to look within yourself to see how people manage to take advantage of you like that, and how you've let other people hold you down in some dynamics. And I really feel like you guys, the majority of you guys watching, you're really doing that. You're doing the work. You're having these realizations already, and this is more so of a confirmation too. Because like I'm getting the vibe of like, yeah, I know I need to work on that. Like that's kind of what I'm getting from most of you. So I feel like you're really doing the work. You're really moving forward with this new mindset that you're carrying. You've become much more aware of how you've let others hold you down, how others have held you back. You're connecting with your higher self a lot more at this time too, I'm feeling. You're also actually starting to process and fully integrate your emotions and understand where they're coming from. And now that you're doing that, other people can't manipulate them as much. Now that you're becoming this King of Cups, right? You're in charge of your emotions. You're much more in touch with them, where they're coming from. Other people can't play with them and manipulate them as much. or invalidate them even, right? You're much more sure of yourself. And I do think with the Two of Cups, for a lot of you, I even want to say like the majority of you, or most of you, there's a strong theme of like your romantic connections being quite toxic. Your partner really kind of holding you down or controlling you rather than really uplifting you. But I am going to conclude this in a very general way, even though I feel like for a lot of you that's what this is and that's what's going on. But your relationship should uplift you. Okay, your connections with other people, they should uplift you. They should help you grow. They should not be holding you down and dominating you. And you guys are doing the work. Like I feel like you're on the right path here. You're really on the right path with doing this work. So I feel like I just need more. I feel like that I've said this already, but I feel like this is more so of a confirmation for you guys that yes, you're doing the work right now. You're doing the work on yourself so that you don't repeat these cycles, so that you don't end up in those same toxic dynamics anymore. You're much more sure of yourself. You're much more connected with your emotions. You're processing them. You're actually processing them, not just being controlled by them or completely suppressing them. You're actually truly balancing them and processing them. And this is going to allow more meaningful connections to come into your life where there's more balance, where people aren't just taking advantage of you and draining you and holding you down, because your connections with others should not feel that way, no matter what they are, romantic, family, friends. Like, your connections with others should not be holding you down. And if they're feeling that way, there's definitely something to look at here. And also pay attention to the signs, pay attention to the red flags in people. You may have ignored them in the past, but I feel like you guys are also, you might get, like, I think I said you might be clairaudient, right? Like, I think you guys get these signs, and you've ignored them in the past. So now that you're a little more sure of yourself, you're a little more connected with yourself, start to pay attention to those more. And don't ignore the red flags, okay? Don't ignore the red flags in people. I feel like you've done that before. I feel like you've done that before, guys. I have too. Okay, I'm not judging. But, yeah, I'm gonna leave that there. I feel like I'm gonna repeat myself if I say too much more. So thank you so much for watching Pile 2. I hope this reading resonated with you. And be sure to like and subscribe.